big news story, which is something we discussed a few weeks ago as a rumor that turned out to be true, which is Disney World and Disneyland are rolling out the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. So let's go into some of the details on this, and then we'll talk about it because we have some thoughts, I think.
All right, let's get into it. All right, so for Walt Disney World, starting October 30th, guests staying at Deluxe, DVC Resorts, Swan and Dolphin Resorts, and Shades of Green can purchase a Lightning Lane Premier Pass. This pass provides guests with one-time access to any Lightning Lane entrance in a single theme park. This includes both those in the multi-pass system and single pass system. There are no booking windows needed. You just go whenever you want, one time. You can only buy it for one park per day. This includes PhotoPass downloads from attractions on that day, PhotoPass lenses. You can book this up to 7 days before your check-in date for the length of stay up to 14 days, just like you do with the multi-pass and single pass. This will be available to purchase on My Disney Experience app. You can track the attractions as you go, as you visit them, and you can kind of see which ones you can't go back to, Keep in mind that this pass is not valid for attractions and experiences without Lightning Lane, like character meet and greets and some shows like American Adventure, Carousel Progress, and the like. So those are the details.
So what are the prices on this?
All right. Well, that's the juicy stuff, right?
that's I think where most people are wondering
right? About. Okay, so Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom ranges in price from $129 to $199 plus tax per person. Epcot ranges $169 to $249 plus tax per person. Hollywood Studios is $269 to $349 plus tax per person. And Magic Kingdom starts at $329 to $449 plus tax per person.
All right, who did this? I'm not mad. I just want to know who did it so I can punish them.
These are the parameters that they're doing at launch. This could always change, but this is what we know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The pricing, we knew it would be when they introduced it. It'd have to be quite a bit more expensive than your multi-pass to make this work.
Right.
So the pricing, I think, is a lot of sticker shock for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So I guess the first thing we'll discuss is, obviously to me, it's impossible to not see the similarities or basically the same thing as what Universal offers.
Right.
So Universal, if you're unaware, has Express Pass, which they have had for a very long time.
Oh, gosh, I don't even know when they started that. 25 years ago?
I'm sure
30?
it's been around for a very long time. So they have Universal Express Unlimited, which does allow you to ride things unlimited amount of time. You could go on the same ride over and over again if you wanted to, but they have regular Universal Express, which is basically exactly like what Disney's doing here, which is you pick a park, you can ride one ride or one attraction, go in there to the express lane, and then, you move on to the next one. So that's basically the exact same system here. Now, the pricing of this, people always complain about Universal's being expensive. Now, theirs runs anywhere from $89.99 per day up to $289.99 per day. It is cheaper if you buy it ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So Disney's is
and that's one ride per day, one time.
That's the one time one.
Okay,
that's not the unlimited one.
Okay.
So Disney's, even at Animal Kingdom, you're already talking more than likely it's going to be more expensive there than it would be at either of the Universal parks. Now, to me, I think it's an interesting move because I have made the argument that I do think this type of system is the best in terms of a cut the line system if you're going to do it, because I think it impacts lines the least amount. Because there's not a lot of, obviously it's more expensive, so there's not as many of these out there. And, you don't have these massive amount of lines for Express Lane because those get priority, so it makes standby a little bit better. But Disney offering this on top of everything else they're already offering, I think to me it makes it pretty clear this is why they cleared out a lot of the DAS stuff.
Yeah.
Because they were wanting to do this.
Yep.
I have questions about, do you need it at Animal Kingdom? At Epcot?
Can we talk about Animal Kingdom real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at Animal Kingdom. On a $200 day, it goes up to $199 plus tax per person. You have a $200 day per person fee for the Premier Pass. There are 9 attractions with lightning lanes. 3 of those are shows. And I would argue that you don't need a lightning lane for shows. You just don't. Maybe when it's like super duper 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 busy, maybe. But it's kind of like, it doesn't really see a lot of value.
You could still see a show pretty easily without a multi or a fat or a lightning lane, whatever it's called, whatever the heck it's called now.
Yeah, exactly. So that leaves basically 6 rides left that would qualify for, or like be like place value for your pass, and $200. So divide $200 by 6. I'm not going to do the math. It's like $33 or something per ride.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially you'd be paying $30+ per ride for your day at Animal Kingdom. But then you look at like Flight of Passage, who you can buy a sequel pass for, and it's not anywhere near that cost for just buying it one time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you're buying convenience here. Like, yes, like it's expensive, but you're buying the convenience. You're not having to schedule anything. You can just walk up, go, you're done. Like, that's the appeal of this. So I get that.
Well,
but that's just wanting to put that in perspective.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like this obviously is Disney yet again tapping into the highest ceiling that they can figure out of like the group willing to pay these prices to do this stuff. And there are people that will. I mean, you do have people that go to Disney that, in my opinion, is people who show up, they just go, I don't know, just give me that and we'll just go do it. And listen, I know some people are going to be upset that it even exists. Like, it doesn't bother me that it exists in terms of...
Doesn't bother me either.
Well, it doesn't bother me in the fact of like, I understand there's things in the world that when you have more money, like you can get more things. Like, I understand that. But what I don't quite understand is when you start looking at like Magic Kingdom, you start talking $450. And let's say you got a family of 4. I mean, obviously that's a ton of money on top of the tickets you already paid. But if you're already going after this group of people that have all this money, would they not just then do a VIP tour? Because you're talking about like you can't park hop with this, which I figured there would be park hopping with this.
Right.
So the fact that you can't park hop, I mean, to me, I don't know who's going to get it for Animal Kingdom. I don't think you need it for Epcot either, because you can still get single passes for the rides that are really in demand, and you can still get most of the things done there by just doing the multi-pass and with a single pass. I suppose the ones that you can make an argument that would be the most beneficial would be like Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom. But just for, I mean, again, if we're talking the people that can afford to pay this, that can, first off, that you have to stay in a deluxe resort to be able to get it. So, so what's funny to me, the dichotomy of Universal versus Disney, which is how it's going to be compared. If you stay at a Universal Premier Hotel, which is their deluxe version, you get the Express Pass Unlimited included for free. Unlimited, which means you can ride both parks all you want. You could literally go on one of the rides and just say, I'm going to ride this all day long. And like, whatever, go for it. Yeah. So with Disney side, it's like you stay at a deluxe resort. You're already paying a lot of money to stay there. They're like, well, you have the right to be able to purchase this really expensive Premier Pass. Yeah. So right off the bat, I think that's weird in terms of, I think there are people that would stay like at a value or moderate that would much rather splurge on experiences or things in the parks. It may get something like this. But again, I think that's just an odd thing to do. I think this because they're obviously trying to limit the amount of people that can get this, because with this being on top of everything else you're offering, you can't have that many people walking around the park that have a Premier Pass.
Well, I was going to mention this. So they talked about limiting this like strictly. Obviously, you said it's only offered to deluxe and DVC, and a select amount of passes will be sold. But Disney's notorious for overselling. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, they don't release the numbers of how many they allow. They never will. But in the past, in many instances, they've oversold things. So when they say they're going to limit it, I'm like, okay, maybe. At the same time, I don't even know if the limit is needed, because I don't really know how many people are going to be buying this. So again, it's like it doesn't really affect us. And when we say us, we mean people that aren't going to buy it. Because I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you. I have no interest in buying a Premier Pass. We've never even bought a Universal Express Pass.
Well, we also have it with our APs a little bit.
We have it
after 4 o'clock,
and that's also a thing.
And if I was going to get it
Yeah.
at Universal, I would stay at their hotels because you get it day you check in, day you check out.
true.
Like it's a really good value for them.
Yes, and we hate comparing these.
I like comparing them. It's fine.
I know you do, but I'm just saying comparing these two. But it's obvious the system is very similar. So in this case, I think it's okay. But what concerns me a little bit is now obviously you've got, you've still got VIP tours coming in Lightning Lane. Not always. They do come in some Lightning lanes. Sometimes they go in the exits. There's different entrances for them. You still have DAS coming through. Mm-hmm. You have multi-pass or single pass depending on the situation. Mm-hmm. And don't you have rider swap going through too?
They will.
Yep. Rider swap goes through too. Mm-hmm. And then also you're adding on Premier Pass. That's a lot of people going through the Lightning Lane. Mm-hmm. So that's just something. I just don't want to see a situation where it becomes like basically two standbys where one you're paying for and one you're not.
Well, the other wild thing about this is you pay all this money, you don't get the front of the line of the Lightning Lane. You're just in the Lightning Lane.
Yep.
So again,
that's true. That's a good point.
If you are able to, you're talking about somebody that, a family, whatever, that can stay at a deluxe resort, that is willing to pay. Let's say you got a family they're willing to pay the $450 per person. It's not a big deal to them. I would argue that those same people, it would make way more sense to just do a VIP tour because then you can park hop, then you can get front of the line access, you get food, you get a guide. To me, you're getting way more
transportation.
And like you could pool enough people together and do it to make it make sense. Mm-hmm. I feel like that would make much more sense to going after this upper echelon group of people. I don't know where.
But again, why not though? Why not go after them?
Well, I mean, I agreed, but I do think I've wondered. I theorize this is a lot to do with. We've already heard Disney talk about financially the fiscal side of things in the last earnings report that they were looking at less demand going into 2025. They said they were looking at mid-single-digit decline in profits and revenue. So they're kind of bracing investors. We've already seen investors as well downgrade the Disney stock because they see the weakness in the parks and talking about competition. To me, this is them perhaps trying to bolster that bottom line a little bit because the last thing they really want to show is a significant drop in revenue because so far they haven't recovered the attendance they've had since 2019. But what they have been able to do is charge more people that come through the gates more money to make, they've almost made $1 billion since they introduced Genie Plus. So they have made money off of this, but whatever money Disney will make from this, and I'm sure some people will buy it, I do feel like it does more damage to them from a PR perspective because it's already the narrative out there. A lot of publications have talked about it too, where you've got the price hikes. Have they priced out people? Have they priced out the middle class? Like all these people already talking about how expensive Disney is. And then you just throw this on top of it. And yeah, it's the amount of people that can get this is not many, but it's also just this other thing that feeds into that narrative. And I just think from a PR perspective, it's just not a great look for Disney right now. I do feel like it's just a money grab. I feel like they're just sitting there doing this. I don't know. I have a lot of questions how it's going to impact things. The pricing is wild to me. I mean, we knew it'd be expensive, but you're talking almost $500. I mean, that is some wild pricing for a single day. And if people want to pay it, whatever. I'm not going to tell people that whatever they want to do with their money, they can do with their money. But I have a lot more questions than I do anything else in terms of this being the system on top of an existing system. And it's also confusing more. Now you've got 3 different Lightning Lane options for people, and you're just like, what is what?
But also it's like, oh, here, spend all this money, Deluxe. And here also, we're going to let you.
I know, that's why.
We're going to let you buy more. I'm telling you, if this whole rollout doesn't go as well as they want, meaning not a lot of people buy it, they will roll it out to moderate in value. I'm telling you.
Well, technically,
they want to sell these things.
Technically, it's under testing phase right now.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but they did at one point, I think it was back in 2018, they put cabanas in Tomorrowland.
Yeah, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
And sold them as a premium experience.
Yeah.
And when people were like, this is weird, it makes no sense, they scrapped it and they acted like it never happened. I'm not saying that's going to happen with this, but if that did happen, I'm not going to be shocked if this gets sort of introduced as a test run and then they just go, okay, it's no longer here because nobody was buying it or it caused too many issues. Part of me wonders if this is C-suite just trying to squeeze more money and this really hasn't been consulted with cast members on the ground. of how you're going to deal with this problem. I could see that being a scenario, but
Maybe.
It's just, I feel like you need to choose a system. Either have your fast pass system or have this type of system, which is much like Universal's. I think this is too much.
If it's not too much, it's just complicated.
Well, and that's the thing. Disney's
Yeah.
already a complicated vacation.
Yeah.
Then you're throwing this on top of
Yeah.
it, and you're basically paying for the convenience of not having to be on your phone.
This literally, this is a passive convenience.
Yeah.
That's what you want to boil it down to. And people will pay a lot of money to not be inconvenienced.
I mean, they will. But the thing,
Just saying.
and I know a lot of people feel this way, and on some level, I do understand this, where, you think back to like 2018, 2019, when you had Fast Pass Plus. And no matter if you had all the money in the world or you could just barely scrape by enough money to go on a Disney vacation, everybody in the park had a very similar theme park experience. You had the 3 Fast Passes, you could add more to them, but your experiences in the park, everyone was basically equal. I mean, obviously, there's still VIP tours that took place and things like that, but for the most part, that's how it was. And now you have this, into the theme parks, you have this haves and have-nots happening, and I do think that rubs a lot of people the wrong way in terms of you're already paying a lot of money to go on a vacation, and if you want if you want to call it a microtransaction, to have the ultimate theme park experience, you have to fork out almost $500 a day per person to do that or something like that, where... again, I think this is much more into the optics of it than it is just from the finances of it. Because, again, from a financial perspective, I mean, people can afford Lamborghinis. I can't. I'm not mad at those people. But at the same time, it's just a situation where it wasn't that long ago, like 5 years ago, where this stuff was all not even in the equation when it comes to Disney. So when you look at such a short amount of time, how much things have changed, I see them adjusting. I will just say that. I'm not going to be surprised if the prices get adjusted, if who can buy it gets adjusted, things like that.
I think the easiest way to look at this for anybody that's just like, can't believe the prices, can't believe this is happening, just look at it as it's just like another option, an option that's really probably most likely not going to affect anything.
What do you mean?
It's just another option for your vacation. You are not required to buy this. You could still do multi-pass. In fact, they told you could do a Premier Pass and multi-pass and single pass if you wanted to.
What?
They told you could buy all 3 if you wanted to.
Of course they're going to tell you.
Yes, they did.
You can buy all the...
I also think that this changes the perception of multi-pass a little bit into where people are like, oh my gosh, I'm staying in deluxe. Let's look at this. Oh, we should do Premier Pass. Whoa, those are high prices. Well, what's multi-pass? $35? Let's do it. Whereas like maybe they wouldn't have considered it beforehand. I will say before we close out, I just want to say for everyone that really hopes they'll bring back Fast Pass, it's never going to happen. Our days of getting Fast Pass like it was is over. It's not happening.
I will push back. Likely you're correct. I think the only way we see Fast Passes ever come back that are free, I'll put it this way, and this is I guess I'll end on this. I think the next 5 to 7 years are a very interesting time period for Disney because they have never been in this situation before where they have this much competition. They have this much in terms of it. I don't think it's even an argument to say the fan base has been divided. I think a lot of people have been turned off by Disney's price hikes, how much things have changed since 2020. So you have not only in the people that enjoy it, a lot of people are saying, I'm done with this, I'm tired. Then you have the competition. And then your biggest competitor is open up a brand new theme park that is right down the road that is going to get a lot of attention and a lot of people are going to go to. Disney hasn't been in this spot before. And the things that they announce are not going to be ready, in my opinion, 5+ years from now. So I think you're looking at a couple, like obviously you've got some variables in between, but like say Disney's best case scenario during this time period and what they've said they're going to do is like shows and parades and really nothing major is going to open for the next couple of years. So I think they're counting on getting a boost from Epic Universe coming in. People come over to Disney and so either the attendance stays the same or they get a little bit of a boost, which could happen. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but that's a possibility. The other possibility is not a great one for Disney, which is the attendance doesn't take a boost. They take a hit, and then a lot of people are going over to the competitor. What do they do? Now, the only thing they really could do would be discounts, which I'm sure they're already going to do, and then bringing things back that people want. Because let's say at the same time that your attendance falls off, your Lightning Lane sales and all those things fall down. That's going to reflect badly on the stock. Now, I'm not saying all these things are going to happen. I'm saying this is a scenario that is possible. you could be left in a scenario where they say, we're bringing back things that people love. We'll bring back Magical Express. We'll bring back Fast Passes or whatever. You could have a hybrid system where you get 3 free Fast Passes or whatever. And then if you want to buy more during your day, you got to buy more. I don't know. I'm just saying you could see something potentially come back if Disney was pushed hard enough or they felt enough like they got a big enough hit taken to them on the attendance side. So I'll never say never, but yes, I do agree more than likely outside of that scenario happening where they're sort of forced to try and get the fan base to come back. Yeah, we're likely not to see Fast Pass Pluses come back. I do think, though, the next few years are going to be very interesting for Disney in terms of how do they navigate this as they've never really had to navigate a situation like this before.
It's true.
And you got to think, too, they got a new CEO they're going to choose in this time period as well.
Mm-hmm. It's coming up.
Who do they choose? What do they do at the parks? Like, there's a lot of questions. But either way, to say all that, you now can buy Premier Lightning Lane if you would like.
It's true.
If it's in your means, then go for it. And if you do get it, and you want to tell us about how your experience is, I mean, we're all ears. I'd like to hear how it worked and how people are, if they're happy they got it. I think there's the other part too, is you have the people buying it, but like, are people happy that they got it? I think that'll be the thing where
that's gonna be interesting. Be like, okay, you got it. What'd you think?
Ask me if I'm gonna buy Lightning Lane Premier Pass.
Jared, are you gonna buy Lightning Lane Premier Pass?
No, God,
okay.
no.
Yeah.
I just wanted to use that.
Okay.